The goal of market research is to identify and understand the needs of customers, who the target market will be, to identify gaps in the market, what the current competition is, and how much competition there will be, and to identify any potential issues that may arise due to intellectual property. This will help to bring together ideas on whether your product is necessary, how best to advertise, and to protect yourself from risk. Before carrying out market research, you must consider data protection legislation, such as the General Data Protection Regulation, more commonly known as the GDPR, and UK Data Protection Act 2018. E-privacy regulations and e-privacy legislation, such as the E-Privacy and Electronic Communications Regulation 2003. You must also consider the regulatory framework for advertising, such as the Consumer Protection from Unfair Trading Regulations 2008, any regulations governing your product specifically, such as whether there are specific rules relating to the advertisement of health-related products or restrictions on advertising, such as for alcohol or tobacco. Copyright law, existing trademarks, and patents must also be considered to ensure you are not infringing on anyone else's rights and to consider what protection is most suitable for your product. Contracts will be involved in establishing the relationships, which means certain contractual issues will arise which you must consider. For example, what is the time frame for performance? Can you withdraw from the contract if certain events happen, or is there a specific procedure for dispute resolution in place? Consider whether you will be sending out any work out of house. For example, are you going to conduct market research yourselves, or will you hire somebody to do this? Will you hire people to appear in adverts or to conduct your marketing campaign? Are you considering using an advertising agency? Will you broadcast your adverts or use billboards? To create a successful business plan that encourages growth and protects the company from risk, various factors need to be considered. As well as business and marketing-based concerns, multiple legal issues are also relevant. Within the business plan, there is likely to be considerations for the buying and selling of goods and services. Young businesses must make the contracts they enter into valid and sensible, so as to give them the best possible chance at profit maximisation and developing their business. Contracts of employment will also be relevant internally, with the company's initial founders having to determine who is employed, under what role, and for what salary. Additionally, businesses may enter into contracts to rent, lease, or buy licensed premises for their business activities. These premises and contracts should all be provided for in the business plan to ensure no additional stress is present in the already stressful early stages of incorporation. As previously mentioned, the majority of successful businesses nowadays are very conscious of their environmental, social, and corporate governance approach. Therefore, as far as possible, young businesses ought to tailor their business plan towards sustainable practice. This could include establishing contracts with green suppliers or trading using recyclable materials. You must consider how you will raise capital for your business, such as what types of shares you would like to sell, how many shares you would like to sell, and how you will manage the capital raised. The legislative framework set out within the Companies Act 2006 should be considered, as this sets out some of the processes for issuing shares, which can be varied by the company's articles. You should also consider issuing a prospectus which sets out the company's information. In issuing shares, there are also registration requirements once the new shares have been issued, which must be considered, such as issuing share certificates and amending the register of members. You must also consider whether this has changed the structure of the company so that anyone now has significant control. If so, there are certain registration requirements which must be met. Your constitution may have varied some of the legislative framework. This must be followed. There may be certain rights that have been created under the company's constitution. These must be considered when issuing shares. As you have begun raising capital, you may wish to hire an accountant, and if so, you must consider any contractual issues in this relationship also.